What's going on, underdogs? Here again for another edition of UMC Real Talk. Hope you're all staying safe and healthy here. Just to confirm, before I get into this week's Real Talk topic, we did postpone the show we had scheduled this Thursday at 3rd and Lindsley, that Underground Sounds showcase with Talia Stewart. Just some increasing COVID concerns among the community, among the lineup, and certainly we don't want anyone coming out feeling as though they are at risk or they are a risk to anybody else. So we will be rescheduling that show. I don't know when, because of course that hinges on this whole pandemic thing that we're all dealing with and when that finally decides to leave. But just want to get out in front of that and just kind of say that here to the camera. And now for this week's Real Talk. So on Real Talk, I try to give you topics that I've struggled with here. That puts the real in Real Talk. And here's one that I touched on a few months ago and I want to revisit, and that's the topic of perfection. We hold ourselves, I think, to such high standards in society. We're taught that we need to be as close to perfect as possible. We're taught all the way from elementary school on up that failure is a bad thing. You better ace this test. You better get a perfect grade. You better, get as close to that ideal as you can, right? And what I think that does to us is, as we get older, it gives us a lot of complexes about perfection and failure in particular. And as I get older and as I go out on my own entrepreneurial journey, I find myself having to get comfortable with failure as part of the process, as imperfection, making mistakes. Like, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not have it all figured out. The failures, the rejections, the things that don't go as planned, that's all feedback, right? That's telling you what didn't work about your plan so that you may make the adjustments. The more you fail, the more of that feedback you get, the better adjustments you can make, and the better project, whatever you're doing, whatever you're working on, the better it'll be down the line, the more of that feedback you get, right? And that's something I have to learn myself constantly. I have to reassure myself of that because, like all of you, I've been taught the same things about failure growing up, and even into my adult life, is that it's a bad thing, avoid it at all costs. No, embrace it. Embrace your mistakes. And embrace getting away from this idea that things have to be perfect, that you have to have it all figured out. It's part of the journey. It's part of the learning process to go out and try things and see if they work. And if they do, wonderful, do more of them. If they don't, well, then that gives you its own lesson, doesn't it? So that's what I want to say this week. If you have any particular thoughts on this video, I invite you to share them in the comments. I invite you to share the video, depending on how you feel about it, if you like it, with your friends, if you don't, with your enemies, and subscribe on YouTube, follow on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. That's Underground Music Collective. And make sure you follow that UMC 20 playlist on Spotify. Make sure you follow the Quinn Spin podcast, wherever that's available. All the socials I mentioned, of course, minus LinkedIn. It's all under the UMC umbrella there. And I'll see you soon for another edition of Real Talk.